Welcome to the Fire Emblem Iceberg. This iceberg was made by Sangini Blue 22 on the r/Fire Emblem subreddit and was actually a community contribution. I did not participate in it directly, but I did put my own entries. There are some entries that I couldn't find any information, and I'll just be like, this, I don't know what it is, or I just got this. Also, I'm sorry if I mispronounce anything in this video, and also, if there's any swearing, I'm gonna just replace it with, what I use, So anyway, let's get into the iceberg. Smash Bros. Is a franchise that crossovers characters from Nintendo and other companies, and Fire Emblem is a franchise that is in Smash Bros. Many people got introduced to the franchise from Smash Bros., including me, and originally Marth and Roy were going to be removed from the international versions of Melee, but were kept in via the request of a Nintendo of America employee. Also, when Corrin was revealed, many people noticed that there were a lot of Fire Emblem characters, including Sakurai himself. But it didn't get worse until Byleth was revealed for the final slot in the Fighters Pass 1, and Byleth got a lot of dislikes, before dislikes were removed. But if it wasn't for Smash Bros, we wouldn't actually have, games releasing like, the ones we actually have. I mean, they're expensive now, but hey, at least they were released in the States, so that's something, I guess. There was a promotion with 7-Eleven in Japan for the game Fire Emblem Echoes, where it lasted from May 25th, 2017 to July 31st, 2017, where you get the 7 sword and the 11 shield. There's also a cancelled promotion way down in the iceberg that I'll be talking about. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a crossover game between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem that was announced on a Nintendo Direct in 2013 with the working title of, Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, and released in 2015 in Japan and 2016 everywhere else, and later an enhanced port was released in 2020 for the Nintendo Switch. This game also crossovers characters such as Joker from Persona 5 and Eleonora Yuzuru, sorry if I mispronounced that name, from Etrian Odyssey Nexus. This game was also censored to remove skimpy outfits to be not skimpy due to it may be getting an M rating in the States, which could have made it the first Fire Emblem game with an M rating. The Japanese Wii U version was in use for the Switch version, and they used the Wii U version from America, which meant the Japanese Switch version was the same as the American version. Just to be personal, this was sold on the Wii U for full price after all these years in Target. I don't know why. Recently I went back to that Target. It's not there anymore, but it's just weird. I don't know. So this entry is basically saying that Shouzou Kaga, developer of Saga, Berwick Saga, and Wisteria Saga, which I'll talk about later, is responsible for creating the Fire Emblem franchise. And in the games he has worked on after he left Intelligent Systems, he did put stuff that that was done first in his games, but would later put in the games, such as Vengeance, Despoil, Mercy, Self-Heal, and many other functions that I'll just link a Reddit post for a full list, because I won't be able to list every single one of them, and you'll at least know from what games they come from. Fire Emblem Warriors is a hack-and-slash game released on the Nintendo Switch and 3DS. The reason why this was made is because of the huge success of Hyrule Warriors. This game was the first spin-off to have full English voice acting. The reason why people say that Fire Emblem Awakening saved the franchise is due to it overpassing the initial goal of 250,000 copies sold, and if it didn't sell more than 250,000 copies, Fire Emblem would be over. Released in 2017, Fire Emblem Heroes is the first mobile game for the franchise. This game is the most popular game in the franchise, making over $500 million, and is Nintendo's most popular mobile game. Also, this game was originally a E10 Plus, but got bumped to a T rating for partial nudity. There was also a crossover with Dragalia Lost. This is a part of a theory of why Elgard forgot her history with Dimitri, such as being childhood friends, but she has, no memory of this, although Dimitri does have memory of this. So, I don't know why, but maybe it's PTSD or something, I don't know. Yeah, all I had was fan fictions. That's about it. Either way, it is a function in the franchise where if you're a girl, you could date a girl, or if you're a dude, you could date a dude in Fire Emblem. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know when it started. Yeah.
I put poison in his mutton.
I put poison in his mutton is a joke in the Fire Emblem commercial, and became a meme in the community. And there may be a reference to the meme in Fire Emblem Heroes.
How's my health? Well, I had some bad mutton earlier, but I feel fine otherwise.
파미콘 롤플레잉 시뮬레이션 게임 파이어 엠블렘.
The special edition of Fire Emblem Fates is for people who want both Bright Light and Conquer in one cartridge. It also has a steelbook, and a dual-sided poster and an art book. But if you're really wanting to get this special edition, it's gonna cost you a lot. Even with, just the cartridge, it's gonna be a lot of money to spend. No, this isn't a meme. It's actually real. Because in the Making of Fire Emblem book, on page 152, Mai Kugasaki Hara, the art director of Fates, and Yusuke Kozaki, character designer for Fates, both claim, where Camilla's design came from. Where Camilla's crown is kinda like a cow. Like, isn't it? I feel that it'd be nice if it looks like animal ears, a bit like horns, that kind of image. In combination with her big breast, I thought if she probably designed with an image of a Holstein. I never thought of that. Well, then I wonder if I should have made her cloak with a cow spot pattern as well. That's just going too far, isn't it? At least we know that the meme is actually real. So, I mean... New Mystery of the Emblem is a remake of the Super Famicom game Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem, and it seemed that the remake was going to be localized, but it wasn't, which is weird since Fire Emblem Advance was released in the West and they were localizing games after it, but that may be because Shadow Dragon didn't do so well in the States, but it did better than the two games preceding it. Or maybe it's because the 3DS was in the horizon, but they didn't want to put resources into a text-heavy game that wasn't Pokemon, because Black and White 2 did release when the 3DS was in full swing, so who really knows? It's probably, that Fire Emblem didn't sold as well as Pokemon, so yeah, I'm gonna go with that. BS Fire Emblem or Fire Emblem was a game comprised of 4 short standalone episodes that could be downloaded for the Satellaview add-on, a streaming service for the Super Famicom or SNES. The last time they were broadcast was in 1999, and there is no longer any method of playing them in the original format unless you download them into the cartridges. The episodes take place between the prologue chapters of Shadow Dragon and Chapter 1. It was later remade for New Mystery of the Emblem and also had voice acting similar to other BS games. But just like those games, the voice acting is lost to time. Tearing Saga was developed by... I'm sorry if I'm gonna mispronounce the developer's name. Nog, I'm sorry, and published by Enterbrain. The game was developed after Shouzou Kaga left Intelligent Systems and formed his own studio, and was only released in Japan in 2001 for the PS1. Due to similarities with the Fire Emblem franchise, it can be considered a spiritual successor, but it led to a lawsuit by Nintendo regarding the copyright. There were also plans for a Game Boy Color and N64 port. Actually, no, N64 DD port. But it was cancelled. Also, Mayumi Hirota, who worked on the art for Fire Emblem Tarja 776, did the art for the game and also did 3 official novels. Berwick Saga is the sequel to Tearing Saga and was released on the PS2 in 2005. And just like tiering Saga was only released in Japan. Due to the lawsuit, the game deviated from its predecessor in terms of gameplay and story. There was also a GameCube beta in development, but was cancelled. I don't know if Nintendo had to do with anything. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, we hate this developer because he copied us." I'm not sure. Maybe it's that. Maybe GameCube didn't sell as well. Which is why a lot of games didn't come to the GameCube. But oh well. Wisteria Saga is an indie game that is developed by Wisteria Project, which is comprised by Shouzou Kaga and other volunteers, and is the first game in the Wisteria Saga franchise. There's some stuff that is similar to Fire Emblem, other than gameplay, and that is the Pegasus Knights. While they do not appear, a somewhat similar class, the Griffin riding Eagle Riders, appear like the Pegasus Knights from Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and Blade of Light, Fire Emblem Genealogy of War, and Fire Emblem Tarsha 776. Eagle Riders use swords and spears, while Eagle Knights are both male and female. All Eagle Knights are female. In a Fire Emblem Anniversary interview video, there was footage of the beta of 3 houses, and has older designs for both Elgard and Claude, and a very short clip of the War Phase Gondor intro cutscene that is entirely different from the current one in the game. I'll try to explain this. I think the reason for this being in the Iceberg is probably that Edelgard's story being unfinished, such as her past with Dimitri and their childhood, may be the case here, but I don't know, there's probably something else that says that Fire Emblem 3 Houses was unfinished. I'm not, 100% sure, but maybe it's that.
仲間と一緒に物語を作ってみませんか。ファイヤーエンブレム暁の女神。
Fire Emblem Hasha no Tsurigi is a pseudo-adaptation of Fire Emblem The Binding Blade, serialized in Monthly Shonen Jump from December 2001 to August 2005, spanning 45 chapters. Initially acting as a side story portraying the adventure of a young boy named Al and his companions as they seek out the Fire Emblem, it eventually became an alternate retelling of the games, at least some of the events, bringing in a number of original characters and concepts. The manga is referenced in the actual games in the form of items, such as Al's sword, Grant's lance, and Tina's staff, named after the manga's 3 protagonists. In Fire Emblem The Binding Blade as well, the addition of the manga original territories of Tiana and Ward on the map of Lincia found in Fire Emblem The Blazing Blade. Some of the manga's original characters have since appeared in the card game Fire Emblem Zero Cypher. Fire Emblem 64 is a game that was cancelled that was originally going to be released for the N64 DD, but was moved to the N64 due to the N64 DD just not selling well. And not only that, but it was only mentioned in magazines, but was given more details in the Making of Fire Emblem book, where it has concept art and dialogue from the game. And in Genealogy of War guidebook by Shouzou Kaga, he stated that he wanted this game to be a prequel to Shadow Dragon and Blade of Light. In an interview with Dengeki magazine in 1997 with Shigeru Miyamoto, he stated that the game would release after Super Mario RPG 2, but that became Paper Mario, so yeah, at least we still got that. But 2 years later, in a November issue of N64 Dream, due to hardware difficulties, they just moved to developing Binding Blade. There was also a found script for Fire Emblem 64, and you can actually read it by yourself, all translated. So if you want to know some details from Fire Emblem 64, you can do so by clicking one of the links below in the description. As both Kirby and Fire Emblem are from Nintendo, Marth's Falchion sword was in Kirby Superstar, only in the Japanese version due to it, not being in any Western game up till that point, because Fire Emblem wasn't released in the States. So instead, the Falchion in the United States and probably everywhere else is just a regular old sword, nothing special for us Westerners. Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem is an original animation video that was an adaptation of Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem, produced by KSS and Studio Fantasia, and was released in 1996. It consists of 2 episodes adapting the first 3 chapters of Mystery of the Emblem and some of the backstory of Book 1 of the game, and by extension Shadow Dragon. But a lot of stuff is a mix of a lot of stuff, so it's not uncommon. Also, 2 episodes were released dubbed in English by ADV Films, and was one of the first pieces of media that we got from Fire Emblem in the States, way before Fire Emblem Advanced or Super Smash Bros. And also, this is the first time Hikaru Midorika, the voice of Marth, voiced him, and now he voices him on the Smash series, and other actors went on to voice their respective role in Fire Emblem Heroes. Also, Marth's name was Mars instead of Marth, although it kinda makes sense because that's what his name comes from, so I mean, it could be just a mix of stuff, so who knows. LTC stands for low turn count, where you try to win a battle with as few turns as possible, which is used in speedruns, I think. I'm not a speedrunner myself, but hey, if you wanna, get into Fire Emblem speedrunning, this one's a pretty good trick, if you want to. Many people were not happy about the past 4 heroes, mostly because they give players boosted stats, which isn't uncommon with most free-to-play games, but most people don't like that in most pay-to-win games because, you know, it's cheating. And yeah, it's cheating, so understandable why people got angry. Pick My Edits is when someone is doing a ROM hack of, well, generally the GBA games or the SNES games or maybe even the Famicom games, because, you know, GBA, SNES, and NES are generally pretty easy to hack. And they're looking for requests to what they should edit from, you know, that specific game. At least that's what I got from Google. I'm not 100% sure about that. Fire Emblem is just like the Zelda series, where most of the games aren't connected, you know, story-wise, although there are some games that are basically sequels to them because they, you know, have returning characters such as Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, you know, being connected, and, you know, how Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are connected because, I mean, obviously there's, you know, similar characters. But they're generally connected via mythologies, you know, so myths basically connect them, and, you know, there is generally one character who reappears every so often. So yeah, they're kind of connected, just not really, so whatever. I just know that people say they ship Eliwood in Ninian. I don't know how to pronounce her name, sorry. But this is somewhat canon for Roy, in a way. But at least it's subjective canon, to say the least. Grima is a recurring villain in the Fire Emblem series. He is the main antagonist of Fire Emblem Awakening and a secret boss in Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. He has a lot of lore, such as having no name and being referred as the creation, for an example. Although there's like many stuff covering his lore. It is implied that the canonical pairing of Chrom and Sumia is canon to the series due to the opening of Fire Emblem Awakening, where they're both seen with a child, which could mean that it's canon, but there's not a lot of people agreeing with this and going on with, you know, female Robin instead of, you know, Sumia, but it's kind of obvious who Lucina's mom is because of the opening. In March 2019, cartridges of several unreleased Chinese translations of GBA games were discovered, and one of them was Fire Emblem 6, and it was dumped online. This was before Blazing Blade was translated into English, and the reason for why it may have been unreleased is probably due to China having an all-around ban on video games at the time. Oh, yeah, that's probably it. Although they didn't really have a problem with portable stuff, so yeah, I think they loosened it up around the DS, so yeah, probably they didn't have, you know, concrete rules yet. This isn't shipping, it's more of a general theory, but there are some people on Reddit, like, according to AI Kid You Not, possibly Intellius, there's more to support reading Ike as gay than reading him as straight, aside from Path of Radiance localized interactions with Elincia. Priam, however, opens up a whole new can of worms, but it's shipping. Really, just ship whoever you want to ship. Don't worry too much about it. There's also a comment by u/gmainpizza where he says he is very close emotionally with Soren, especially seen in the final base conversation of Radiant Dawn, and doesn't really have female interest besides some ship tease with Elincia, but I think that was added in during localization because it's nowhere to be seen in Radiant Dawn. However, that could be attributed with Ike being focused on other things, with love not being as important to him. Some people say Ike X Randolph, but unlike Ike and Soren, I never got that one at all. It isn't even a bromance, they're just bros. It's possibly shippers are exaggerating, but I don't know. Some ships are very exaggerated for the worst part.
Fire Emblem 楽しみだな。マルス、本当に会いたかったんだよ。みんなずいぶんたくましくなっちゃって。
スーパーファミコンに新たなる伝説、愛と勇気のシナリオ、ファイヤーエンブレム紋章の謎、24メガで新発売。
私の思いが物語になる。
In the unpatched version of Fire Emblem Three Houses, Bernadetta's support was censored due to maybe her support being a little bit too dark for her. Although apparently the new translation is far more accurate to the Japanese version. Although it's kind of weird that they removed that, because I think it makes her character far more impactful, you know, because she's been trained in a specific kind of way. I'll just show you, you know, the comparisons.
Father's obsessed with money. He's only ever seen me as bait for a rich husband. To train me to be a good, submissive wife, he'd do things like tie me to a chair and leave me there all day, challenging me to stay quiet.
私の父は金銭欲が強い人なんです。私のことも道具としか見てなくて、椅子に縛り付けられて、四六時中しつけられて、とにかくいい相手と結婚しろって。
My father's obsessed with money. He's only ever seen me as bait for a rich husband. To train me to be a good wife, he'd do things like tie me to a chair.
私の父は金銭欲が強い人なんです。私のことも道具としか見てなくて、椅子に縛り付けられて、四六時中しつけられて、とにかくいい相手と結婚しろって。
Fire Emblem Wii was a Fire Emblem title for the Wii, obviously, that began development after the release of Radiant Dawn, but was cancelled. Very little information about the game has been made public outside of a few notes that were published in the 25th anniversary design book. Again, I'm mentioning that one book, although there is some concept art that was revealed, so at least we have a little bit of a look at that game. Two popular theories were that Fire Emblem 64 was developed into Binding Blade or Path of Radiance. It was confirmed in the Making of Fire Emblem 25th Anniversary Development Secrets, again mentioning that book again, that Fire Emblem 64 was a very early version of Binding Blade, and there were assets used for Path of Radiance in early screenshots of Path of Radiance. So, I don't know. Maybe it was meant to be Fire Emblem 64, or it could just be, they just reuse assets, which is pretty common to many games. So, I mean, they did reuse them, although probably not in the final game. I'm not sure. There was controversy over removed stuff from the English version of Fire Emblem Fates, where you basically are petting a character, regardless of male or female, and to strengthen their bond with the 3DS stylus. Understandably why they removed it, but there's one big, package that's way bigger than that one, where basically a support conversation between the male avatar and Soliel was translated and submitted into pastebin. In the original support, Soliel gets distracted from fighting because of cute girls in the battlefield, and it greatly affects her performance. She asks the male avatar's help, and the male avatar agrees with putting a magic powder in Soliel's drink that lets her see men as women and women as men. You can see why they removed it. According to producer Hitoshi Yamagami, Pokemon Conquest was originally going to be a Fire Emblem Cross Pokemon game, but that was scrapped after learning that Pokemon Conquest had actually already been proposed to Koei as a Nobunaga's Ambition Cross Pokemon game. But, I mean, Pokemon and Fire Emblem still crossover in the Smash Bros. Series, so at least, it's kind of similar to, how Mario and Sonic can only cross over in, Smash Bros. And the Olympic Games, but not in an actual crossover game. At least, closest thing to that would be Smash Bros. So, yep. It's unfortunate that they kind of canceled it, but hey, at least they reused it as another game. Dragon aging is weird in Fire Emblem, but there is a theory by Crimson Blocks on GameFAQs, which is long, but I'll show you the key stuff on screen. Naui from Fire Emblem Awakening is actually 14 years old in dragon years, and therefore is not a child or prepubescent. She's generally in early dragon puberty. How did I come to this conclusion? Well, through my lore research of the entire series, I have come to a conclusion that divine dragons and divine dragons only age 70 times slower than regular humans. Other dragon tribes like fire dragons, ice dragons, earth dragons, etc. age like regular humans and then stop aging around 25 years. They then stay that way for around 500 years before starting to show signs of aging. This theory is proven due to Naui's personality saying that she's around 1000 years old, give or take, since she's a pure-blood divine dragon. Her daughter, Na, is specifically said to be half-dragon. She ages 70 times slower than humans. By this logic, if we divide 1000 by 70, we get around 14.2 years, give or take by a few decimals. This theory seems to have a couple of holes in it. The first one is how certain dragon characters in the series, like Tiki and Flame, are thousands of years old yet look like children or early teenagers at least. However, she still looks like a child even after all that time, which is because she is in stasis for the majority of that time. The same goes for Flame, who would look like Seth's age if she didn't keep sleeping for the majority of the 1000 years of the Athesian rule. In the Blue Lions route, you can't execute Felix or Annette on your side as they are already part of the Blue Lions house, but a few hackers have found there is dialogue that plays out if you face them on the Blue Lions route specific to various members in the house. Originally, Leif was going to be the melee representative of Fire Emblem, since he was the playable character in Genealogy of the Holy War and the protagonist of Tarsia 776, but they chose Roy because he was the most recent protagonist of Binding Blade, and it's a similar reason why they were going to replace Ness with Lucas. I personally don't know what this is talking about. I don't have anything. Nothing came up. Sorry. I don't know. I only found the similarities with Sigurd and not Selif, but I'll list them here. So Sigurd and Chrom are both princes that are direct and committed to what they think is right, and have a best friend that can possibly marry their sister. Their relatives waged war against an evil cult which was trying to resurrect an evil dragon, meet a mysterious stranger who has fell dragon blood which lead up to their death, and their child must save the world. Again, this is in the Iceberg. I personally don't know what this is even talking about. That Zifil killed Lin. I didn't get anything. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Surtur is the king of Muspel, briefly mentioned by Loki. No, not the Marvel Loki. That Loki, to be her king in Paralogue 10, and again in Paralogue 13. Surtur first appears briefly in Book 2, Chapter 1. He has conquered and destroyed the kingdom of Nilf. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry. Killing the queen in front of her daughter Fjorm, and is now invading Asker. Eliwood, queen of Rikia, sorry if I mispronounce it, is a joke that originated from a Fire Emblem Blazing Blade commercial where they mistakenly labeled Eliwood as Queen of Rikia and was made as a joke by YouTuber Mangs. If Eliwood gains the support from Nanian to the highest level, Roy can technically be 1/4 dragon because, Nanian is a dragon. So, yeah, it all depends on what you consider canon. Not much else to say there. No, Fire Emblem Heroes isn't canon, but it's more so in a gray area where you can go either way. I mostly go with non-canon because it's a spin-off. Have you ever wondered why Fire Emblem hasn't advanced technology-wise? Well, there is a theory that the Fire Emblem universe is technologically stunned by Reddit user u/Homie Reggie, where the simple answer of why the franchise hasn't advanced tech-wise is to keep the fantasy world aesthetic. Or, we know that humans at some point were playing with the idea of firearms with the advent of cannons and ballistics, but I'm sure that they were told that it was a fruitless effort to continue further with, ensuring that at no point would some megalomaniac come to Naga's front door to see what would happen if he nuked it. It is a misconception of people in Fire Emblem that dragons are gods, when in actuality they are mortal and delicate than humans. A race that has the ability to push a species of freaking transforming lions and Megadeth bunnies into a state of either segregation or darn near extinction. There's a lot to be feared from humans, and that's reason enough to keep them from advancing.
Emblem Heroes.
In the August 1996 issue of Nintendo Power, Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War was previewed and was instead gonna be called Fire Emblem Descent of the Girard. So this was technically America's first exposure to Fire Emblem, even before the anime came out. And apparently Gaiden didn't exist according to this, so that the second game is Mystery of the Emblem, and that the third game was a remake of the first two. Originally, the script for Fates was way different from the final product, where they hired manga author Shin Kibayashi to create a draft for the story. He ended up writing much more than they asked for, 500 pages per route or something like that. And we know they did make their own changes, such as Hinoka not being in the original script, and there's no information on how extensive the changes are to the story or how the draft was different from, the original. I mean, it could have been more different or maybe in line. I don't know. I think this refers to Nintendo not going to acknowledge Kaga as the creator of Fire Emblem, but they probably don't want to highlight the lawsuit. So, in the eyes of Nintendo, Shouzou Kaga is dead. I think that's what it means. I'm not 100% sure. In 2003, select retailers in the United States distributed a bonus disc with pre-orders of the Nintendo GameCube game Mario Kart Double Dash. This rare disc contains a collection of playable demos and preview videos for current and upcoming games for the GameCube and Game Boy Advance, including Fire Emblem: The Blazing Blade. And there is exclusive content when connecting your GBA to the GameCube. Anna is in every single game in the series, and she bears the crest of Ernest. I found this meme that is like, he has a point for ending humanity for the dragons because they are seen as gods. I mean, there are always memes of, understanding villains as not doing stuff that is bad, even though it is actually bad. There was a manga that ran from 1992 to 1997 and was based on Shadow Dragon and Blade of Light. The volumes were placed very weird because volumes 1 through 2 came out in 1992, volume 3 came out in 95, and 4 and 5 came out in 97. There's also an audio drama that I'll talk later in the Iceberg.
Nintendo Switch Fire Emblem 風化雪月
There was a cancelled 7-Eleven character who is nicknamed Flashy Man. It's unknown why he wasn't in the game. Maybe it was time constraints, but just take that with a grain of salt. I personally don't even know why he wasn't in the game. Plus, 7-Eleven promotions don't really exist in America. At least I think. So I wouldn't even know. Yeah, I don't know how the Fire Emblem 7 commercial from the United States is canon to the actual series. I didn't get anything. Originally tiering Saga as shown from the screenshot from the demo, and there was some stuff that was from the Fire Emblem series, even though Kaga was already out of Nintendo, but it remained unused to avoid a lawsuit from Nintendo. But as you know from many entries ago, there was still a lawsuit, and also paid for violation as unfair fair competition, and maybe was the reason why Fire Emblem 64 didn't release. Fire Emblem, the Reincarnation of Light and Dark, is a Chinese bootleg game for the Game Boy Color. I don't know when this was released, but it may have been released in the late 90s or early 2000s. There is a translation that I'll leave in the description. The real name is Automation Class, but they are possession dolls, and I guess the image in the tier is edited. Maybe a good representation, and yeah, creepy. The theme of love from Fire Emblem 5 is pretty rare to find in the game, but it does make a slight cameo in the Song of Sorrow. There was a theory that Sotis was evil, and all the ones I actually found were from before the game was even released. So I'll be using Reddit users u/lemon tinted Latin field that was released, such as how there's some mind wiping tradition in Fire Emblem games. So here's the quote. Basically, there's a precedent of evil characters to alter the minds of good characters, and a precedent of evil characters to be presented only within the minds of their hosts. Sotis as a part of Violet's mind seems pretty suspicious in that regard. This, and because of box art, the heroes of the story are most prominently displayed, while if the bad guys are on the box at all, they are in the background with more shadow over their portrait, except for Fire Emblem 11, where there are no characters on the box art at all. Sotis is missing from the official box art, and while that doesn't prove much, I still thought it was worth mentioning. In any case, I don't think Violet is going to have a good time. If the three houses were peaceful but then start to fight against each other, Violet may unwittingly be the cause. So apparently the 8 legends are evil. I don't know why. I didn't get really much. So I don't know if this is right, but apparently Reddit user u/CrimsonCat3 wanted to use a song from Fire Emblem Echoes in his game named Firebrand Chronicles that has influences from the Fire Emblem series, which is Heroes of Arcadia. The reason is the song Heroes of Arcadia from Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valencia, has been one of my favorite songs in the series, and recently noticed that the song in question perfectly fits my game's ending almost word to word, even better than Fire Emblem Echoes. The credits in Echoes was one of my most powerful gaming moments I've ever felt, and wanted to replicate that. Thing is that I don't own the rights to the song and have no clue on how to get the rights, especially since it was created in Japan and I live in the US. One thing that complicates this further is that I'm planning on getting the license to the English song, not the original Japanese song, and I don't even own the company that actually owns the song in question. I'm not looking to own the copyright. I'm merely asking for how I can receive the license to use that song in my game. Another option is making a cover of it, but I'm not exactly sure what the copyright entails for a song using the same lyrics and instrumental, but a different voice, i.e. a cover, is, and how to obtain the rights to that. I'm not sure the Iceberg refers to this, but this is the closest thing. But it seems it's also pretty hard to get a license from Nintendo to use in another game. I mean, in movies, it's something they got no problem with, but maybe using music from other games that are from another company is hard. I don't know how that works, and I don't know if there's one that uses it with permission. Obviously not counting Smash Bros. Millen is a very obscure character that only appeared in the Fire Emblem radio drama, where the radio station is connected to the Italian church as a way to promote Catholicism in Japan. Kind of weird for Nintendo, as they had a no religion policy in the States, but I mean, Nintendo does mean leave luck to heaven. And Milan is the name of a real life city in Italy. Anyway, what is his backstory, if you are wondering? Well, his brother Thomas was killed in a turn run by the Soothsayers, a gang that Noah was a part of, and he wants revenge for his brother's death. He was also voiced by Kozuke Okano. I recommend the video by Percivalco. I'll leave a link in the description so you could watch the video. There's a planned sequel to Genealogy of the Holy War, and there were comments from Kaga on the old Intelligent Systems forum, and there are details from the game, such as being separate from Fire Emblem 64, as that game was going to be more of a beginner's game, while the third part of Genealogy of the Holy War was going to be for the more experienced players, having similar mechanics and art style to Mystery of the Emblem. Also, the plot is a long read, but here's a summary by serenesforest.net that says, Kaga mentions being nervous about posting his dream scenario. However, there is a reason for this, since the original text cannot be taken at face value, especially as the game was originally going to be split into 3 parts. So they aren't official settings, nor are they based on official settings. They are just mere dreams, he supposes. In any case, it seems that the pairings were divided into various patterns, or at least 0, 1, and 2. Pattern 1 includes Ira x Lex and Bridget x Jamka, while, for instance, Adian x Jamka and Ira x Holian are Pattern 2 pairings. In Pattern 2, all the female first-generation characters survive or are brought back to life. In Fury and Levin's case, after some time passes, they are brought back to life by the power of Hull City. I hope that's good. Urias was also going to return to his original state at the end through the power of Urias' love. Sadly, only a few of first-generation male characters survived. The third part was going to be a story about the parents and the children reuniting. Those who weren't Sigurd's regular subordinates would not make a triumphant return, but are subjugated.
This isn't where things end for us.
I want to see you so badly. There's so much I need to ask.
I hope this journey will bring us together again.
Alright class, I found some stuff that I think might be interesting to teach in the class, so please pay attention to what I'm about to talk about. Outfits from the Easter season are made of undead tangle. Many clothes are made of undead animals, so this isn't really out of the question, to be honest. Hell spell is real, in fact. Someone already documented this so we can actually see it. It's a bit disturbing, isn't it? Throughout history, every house has been different for other teachers. Even parallel versions of myself have been different. In an alternate universe of TMS, as we would call it, there are many rumors of there being messages from the devil, but who knows if they're real. Class, I don't feel so good. Alright, that was the Iceberg. Finally finished with it. As of I'm recording this. I really enjoyed going through the Iceberg of Fire Emblem. I did have to add in, some of my own stuff, obviously. I did cut some stuff, that the comments in the Iceberg said to cut. And so I was like, yeah, I'll focus on that. I've been debating on whether I should have done the last tier. A friend did told me to keep it in there, so at least I gotta thank her for that one. Anyway, as for any future Icebergs, there are a couple I want to do, like maybe a Back to the Future Iceberg, or what else? I think a Jujutsu Kaisen one would be good, and maybe even Ghostbusters. Yeah, I'd say those are the main three. Ghostbusters and Back to the Future, just because I grew up on those two franchises, and Jujutsu Kaisen because I recently finished the anime, so I don't know which one I'll do. I'll choose. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.